Excuse me, sir, I have your wheelchair.
I don't need a wheelchair.
That bastard yesterday, he shot and killed a police officer, so I decided to kill him. But this time I chose not to use a knife.
But in this case...
What I didn't know at the time was, the man I had just killed turned out to be a high-ranking member of a gang. This put me and my family on the gang's hit list. When the gang leader, Isaac, learned of Victor's death, he was overcome with grief. He looked at old photos of the two of them, vowing to avenge his brother, because Victor was wearing a tracking bracelet. Isaac's men quickly traced the signal to where it vanished, right about 10 kilometers off the coast. The next day, Isaac showed up at the pier with his men and found my boat. As it happened, my enemy Lewis held a grudge against me, and he was on my boat at that moment, committing an act of vandalism. Isaac mistook him for me. He questioned Lewis on why he killed Victor. Before Lewis could even figure out what was going on, he was restrained by Isaac's men.
Look, I don't know anything. Look, I didn't kill anyone, I swear. This isn't even my boat. It belongs to this douchebag named Dexter Morgan. I hate this guy's fucking guts. That's why I came down here, so I could sink his boat.
Who is Dexter Morgan?
Like I said, he's just a jerk who works for Miami Metro Homicide. Now, can I please go?
Louis thought that by selling me out, he could save his own life, but he had no idea that these gangsters were far more ruthless than he could imagine. That day, while I was cleaning the boat, I was talking to my father in my head as I usually do. Suddenly, I discovered bloodstains. I knew something was wrong. I never leave any traces on my boat. Clearly, someone else had been there. Then, I used a spray reagent and discovered even more blood. I concluded that someone had died on my boat. So, I immediately went back to the police station to run a blood test. The results showed it belonged to Lewis.
Why was he killed on my boat? Why would he have even been on my boat? Why?
I headed home with a head full of questions. But when I walked up to the door, I noticed the curtains moving. My killer instinct told me someone was inside the house. As expected, Isaac was waiting there with a gun. So I dialed the house's landline.
Hey, Dex, it's Sam. Just want to confirm we're still on for 1 o'clock at Schooner or later.
At 12th and Bayshore Drive. See you there.
I intentionally mentioned where I was going. If there was a killer in my house, he would surely show up there. But what I didn't expect was that as soon as I hung up the phone, Isaac appeared. I quickly realized he was there to avenge Victor, but he didn't know I was already playing him. I had a waiter hand him a cell phone.
Why were you in my apartment?
Answer the question, what were you doing in my place?
I'm not stopping with you. I also want any of your police officer friends involved in this little vendetta.
Wait,
Including your lieutenant's...
Sister, I've done my homework too.
it was just me. She had nothing to do with this.
Hello, handsome.
I'll see you around.
My family has always been my bottom line. He actually dared to threaten my family, so I decided to kill him too. First, I intentionally let Isaac know my whereabouts, then lured him into his rival's territory. While it wasn't as fun as putting him on my dissection table, it would cover up the cause of his death. It would make it look like a gang war. But the next morning, when the police arrived at the scene, I discovered that Isaac had taken down all his opponents single-handedly. At that moment, I realized Isaac was a cold-blooded and formidable killer. However, based on the blood on the ground, I deduced that he was also injured. If I could prove the blood on the ground matched